Fort Huachuca is one of several major military installations in the state, including Davis-Monthan Air Force Base in Tucson, Luke Air Force Base in Maricopa County, and the Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma. That's in addition to more than a dozen other smaller military assets and National Guard operations. All told, the military supports tens of thousands of jobs and generates hundreds of millions of dollars in tax revenue. That's according to a 2017 study about the military's economic impact in Arizona. The report came from the Maguire Company, a public policy consulting firm. The company's president, Alan Maguire, joined me in studio to explain the findings. Take me back. This study took place a few years ago, but what did it tell you about the military's economic impact to the state of Arizona?
Right, so this is the third study. We did one first with fiscal year 2000. This was fiscal year 2014, so almost 15 years later. What we saw was that almost $11.5 billion of total output is produced in the state of Arizona because of our 10 facilities all over the state. And it's over 75,000 jobs, so it's a huge industry. We don't think of it as an industry, but it contributes to our economy in many, many ways. Huge impact.
$11 billion is a lot of money.
It's a lot of money.
How does that translate into what the taxpayers, the community of the state can actually see and feel?
It really affects every aspect of Arizona's economy because it brings billions of dollars into the state. That money gets spent and respent and respent. And the majority of the spending is actually by the suppliers that sell things to the bases and then their employees when they go out and buy groceries and cars and houses and all kinds of goods.
What have studies like yours actually done for some of the key stakeholders here, the government, private sector?
You bet. The first study was done in anticipation of a base closing commission, and there was concern that one of our bases would be closed. And we've seen that in other states, when bases are closed, the impact can be very negative on the communities. So a bunch of mayors got together, decided they wanted to take a look at all of the bases together as a single study. It was the first time it had ever been done in the country, and it shocked everybody. It shocked me as an economist. I had no idea. 30 years in this business, I had no idea that the impact of the bases was as much as it is. And so it raised their profile tremendously. It led to state legislation protecting the airspace around the bases. And it led to an awareness that you can't encroach on these facilities because if you do, you endanger them and they may be closed and go away.
In Arizona, every time we hear of a BRAC coming, there's always a fear. But it can be a good thing for the Department of Defense to sort of look at it and realize this is where we can become more efficient.
Absolutely. BRACs are very efficient, although they have gotten better. They learned in the very first round of BRAC cuts that they closed some facilities they could never get back. Things, rare gems that had been protected for decades and centuries, that when they gave them away, they went, oh, we'd like to have that back. And we have a couple of those here in Arizona. There's maybe three that are most notable. The first one is Fort Huachuca. That is the electronic testing area down there. It's a unique airspace. We can do testing that we can't do any place else in the world. The second one is the Barry Goldwater Range, which is a huge, safe bombing range along the southern border of the state. It's free of commercial air traffic, one of the only spaces in America that's free of commercial air traffic. And the third one is the Yuma Proving Ground, which is a huge artillery facility on the west side of the state. It's the largest testing facility in the world of that kind, and they're responsible for all the military testing facilities around the world.
Let's talk about contractors, recessions. All those things can affect the economy, but when Congress passes a budget that says, don't worry, we've got you covered, we may not see those effects right away?
Well, in a sense, the military doesn't move by the same cycle that the regular economy does, right? The economy goes up and it goes down, and it goes up and it goes down on a regular sort of routine cycle every 8 to 10 years. But the military is built up based upon international defense priorities. What do we need to do? Because we train both American sailors and soldiers here, but also worldwide training. And so that industry follows a different cycle. So sometimes when the regular economy is going down, the military economy is going up. That's very helpful to have a countercyclical industry in Arizona like that.
Paint a picture for me. Without military installations in Arizona, what does this state look like?
Our economy would be smaller, but you have to remember this is such a dynamic state. We are growing so much. We would clearly, deeply miss the military. It would not crush us. There are some smaller states where the loss of their bases would be devastating to them. It would be damaging to Arizona, but it wouldn't be a death knell. But we certainly don't want to lose them.